Hello.
Yeah.
Tommy, what's going on, man?
How you doing? I'm good.
Awesome.
So we got a straggler, right?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Like I said, Terry's on the road, but he stopped at a coffee shop with wonderful internet to do this. So I don't know. Hopefully everything's okay.
Great. If we see him, we'll pull him in right away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no worries.
All right. Well, first we'll start the show with our raffle, and then we'll introduce Tommy and who we have today. It's a very exciting show.
Yeah.
So our raffle winner for episode 17 with Constructed Adventures.
Yeah.
Let's see who the lucky winner is.
Let's go. We're gonna get that. Who's gonna get that 3-call content? Yeah. Whoa!
Justin, please email us. We'll give you information.
Congratulations, Justin.
Awesome.
Go, Justin.
Yeah. So, welcome to Behind the Masterminds, episode 19, with the infamous Hatch Escapes.
Yeah.
We have one half right now with us, Tommy. Perry will be joining us shortly. Actually, you know what? Let's give it one more shot.
Terry is.
He'll keep trying. He does it.
Oh, he has a friend.
Hey, you guys can see me?
Yeah. You too.
Great. Well, unfortunately, I'm actually mid-move right now. I've got my car full of stuff, and I'm going up to Washington to ride out the rest of the pandemic until we can get Hatch open. So,
oh, wow.
And this is Emma.
Hi,
Emma. Oh, my goodness. He's got his whole...
So there's actually 3 owners.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
All right, so we just got our raffle out the way, and we're going to make this introduction for Hatch Escapes. And
yeah, Tommy and Terry are founders of Hatch Escapes, creator of Lab Rat. I'm sure everybody's heard of that already. We haven't been, which is quite sad, but we will. An escape room that's ranked number 12 in best escapes in the whole world in 2019.
Yeah.
And Tommy is the New York Times best author of novels We All Looked Up and Thanks for the Trouble, as well as a screenwriter and musician. And Terry has owned and run numerous successful businesses and written a couple of pretty damn good musicals too.
So we're gonna get to that. Yeah. We want to know more about.
Well, I mean, that's all the information that I got from them in terms of a bio, but now I want to find out more about you guys in terms of which damn good musicals and how did a musician and a writer end up in escape room business and now a Kickstarter, a tabletop game.
Yeah.
So tell us everything.
It's like,
I'll start. You can do the tabletop game part.
Okay, sounds good.
So Terry and I met a very, very long time ago. We were both in high school at a summer program at NYU for writing musical theater. So that is actually how we met. As musicals brought us both together, and we wrote a show together long ago that we put on at his high school in LA. And then he went on to pursue that career path for a number of years. In addition, I started doing my own kind of music stuff and some other writing stuff. And that's how that comes into play. And then both of us got into this. I don't know, Terry, you can talk about that part, our escape room.
Sure. So I moved back to LA to start a family and to raise some kids. And Tommy all of a sudden was spending more time in LA as Hollywood came knocking for his books. And I got a phone call from Tommy one day saying, we're going to an escape room tonight. And I kind of didn't want to go, and I was looking for an excuse. I'd never been to one. He'd never been to one. And he took me up to what is now the Fox in the Box up in Hollywood. And we played their bunker room. And Tommy and I literally walked out of that room, turned to each other, and we were like, we are going to do this. Because Tommy and I could immediately see how our combined talents and our obsessions and priorities, we thought could make something really special. And we immediately saw, oh, wait a second, this is a storytelling art form, and nobody seems to get that yet. Yeah. But once they do, wow, this is going to be able to tell some amazing stories. And so from that point forward, we've been obsessed. This is what we do. We tell stories with puzzles.
Yeah, well, shout out to Fox in the Box. I'm so glad they had that bunker room to bring you guys together.
Yeah, or else
We didn't have a Hatch Escapes.
It's true. It's true.
Well, just as an FYI, Mother of Frankenstein, which we're going to get into shortly, is available on Kickstarter now until October 24th, 2020. Be sure to pre-order your copy, now before they're all gone.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have more because they have so much stretch targets that they have to reach. So, and it seems like endless at this point.
Yeah.
So, did you guys want to talk a little bit about how you got into the tabletop games then? Is it because of COVID situations, or did you actually have something planned out already?
Yeah, it was COVID. So Tommy and I had been kind of flirting with a potential business partner, a guy named Ethan David. He is most famously recently is the producer behind Jagged Little Pill on Broadway, but please on BBC America.
I think he's cutting out a bit because of the
kind of a large project. We're throwing around ideas, and he kept kind of hinting. Yeah. Sorry about that. Tom, why don't you take it over?
Sure.
It's okay. I mean, we're able to
better if you can get.
Yeah, your video is freezing every now and then, but we can hear you.
Okay, great.
Yeah, well, maybe Tommy can take over a bit, just on the storytelling, and then he can chime in.
Yeah.
Like, how this happened, because I keep hearing break segments.
Yeah, no, it's. Yeah, so let's see. I'll do my own take on that transition, but yeah, I agree with all of that. So we had talked about getting into this space for very logical reasons. It's a space we're both really interested in. We play a lot of board games, and a lot of the things we talk about doing, and a lot of our priorities as game makers are even slightly easier, possibly in that medium than in escape rooms, which has a whole other set of constraints and opportunities. So we'd always talked about it, but we were working very, very hard on our second escape room, which is called The Ladder, which we also did on Kickstarter, and it's an enormous undertaking. It's not like a normal... again, people are doing all sorts of things in escape rooms, but certainly this room is not a standard escape room. It is a much, much larger scale than the average thing, in that it's replayable, and it has a narrative with branching choices that you make, and it's 90 minutes long, and it's a whole thing. So we were deep into that, so just weren't focused on kind of the board game situation. And then COVID hit, we had to shut down Lab Rat, we had to shut down the build for The Ladder, and thanks to Arvind Ethan David, who Terry mentioned, who's someone we had been talking about collaborating with, he kind of put, the, what is it, bee in our bonnet, the pee under our mattress, whatever it would be, kind of saying, you guys, we need to be doing something. Because he also had to shut down his Broadway show, obviously, which was nominated for 15 Tonys 2 days ago. And he had to shut that down, and he basically said, we got to do something. This is the moment for this tabletop thing. Yeah. So that's when we started kind of iterating.
Yeah, well, timing is everything. I mean, it was, it sounds like fate.
Yeah. I mean, I know we're not talking about escape rooms here, but we're enthusiasts in the escape rooms at first. So we're gonna obviously ask about Lab Rats, because everywhere we go, we hear about it. As long as enthusiasts have been to the Cali, they played it. So except for us.
Yeah, if you didn't play Lab Rats, you definitely missed something, and we missed something. Well, our schedule is also conflicting, so.
Yeah. So without any spoilers, why do you feel like that escape room concept is so successful, and why does it stand out? To give players a memory that they can keep for their entire lifetime.
Yeah.
Shucks. Let's see if Terry can. We'll see. I want to give Terry another try, but if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Unless he's literally frozen, which he might be. He looks beautiful though.
He might be frozen, or he's in thought. He might be in deep thought right now.
Right. He's really thinking. Okay, I'll keep answering.
I can hear you guys perfectly.
Oh, we see you now. Try answering.
You're back.
Oh, can you hear me?
No, you're back.
At least you're not frozen. Okay, you're look.
Yeah, you look good though when you're frozen.
Good.
It was a nice freeze.
Basically, can answer is that Lab Rat is one of maybe half a dozen escape rooms that I'm aware of worldwide that actually has a real story. And I don't mean a setup. I don't mean a theme. I don't mean I don't mean an archetypical story-like structure. There's an actual story with a beginning, a middle, and an ending, with a memorable character, with stakes. Characters grow and change, and your actions have some bearing on what happens in the actual room. And I think that is what sets it apart from most other escape rooms.
I would add to that. We made a decision early on for a very pragmatic reason about humor, and I think that it is. I don't ever want to denigrate anyone's rooms. There are dozens, hundreds of incredible rooms that are very serious. That being said, I do think it's a mistake made by a lot of escape rooms to try to be very, very serious because the medium itself is somewhat silly. And part of that is because the budgets are still so low. As weird as that sounds, you're never going to think you're in a hidden temple underground. You just aren't. Do you know what I mean? When you watch The Mummy, it looks like they're in... The Mummy's a comedy. That was a bad example. When you watch The Matrix, which is it looks good. You suspend disbelief. No one who isn't 10 years old is ever suspending disbelief in an escape room. Everything's made out of styrofoam. You can see the paint lines. You can see the electrical outlets that say don't touch. And because of that, the attempt to make it seem as if you really think you're fooling people and they're really in it is, I think, somewhat problematic. And there are some people who've pulled it off, but it's very, very difficult. And we made a decision early on that we would embrace the ridiculous nature of the situation and allow that comedy to fuel the joy of the experience. And I do think that it's cheating in a way, but it works to make people have sort of a more relaxed time.
But if we were cheating, we balanced it out by giving ourselves an extra challenge with Lab Rat, which was to make it entirely diegetic, which is to say that anytime you're solving a puzzle, you're solving a puzzle specifically because you, as the character, would actually be solving a puzzle at that moment. Right? And I think that also is kind of unique for most escape rooms.
Right. So basically, your character is exactly what you are, basically. You're in that room and you are that because of your surroundings and your storyline and the role that you're playing. All right. I'm sure he'll be back.
He'll be back. Don't worry about him. He just comes and goes. This is how he is.
Yeah.
Alright, so now going into the main topic for today, which is Mother of Frankenstein. From all the themes you can pick out there to do as a tabletop game, why Frankenstein? I mean, it's such a well-known character by everyone, so when you first thought of doing this, I'm sure you had a lot of research to do to have the authenticity of the characters and their stories. So we're just wondering how much of it is fiction versus non-fiction?
Sure. So, the sort of fundamental thing to know about the project, hey, he's back, but vertical this time. He's horizontal. Yeah.
He turned.
We're seeing you sideways, Terry, which is very funny. I wonder why. You're like this. You should turn your camera. Anyway. Yeah, we'll deal with sideways Terry later. There you go. We made a very active decision, and it's funny you mentioned this because it goes to a conversation we've had in the comments of the campaign about the name itself and how it's a little bit misleading, but we had to do that because for some other reasons I'll get into. But basically, this is not a retelling of Frankenstein, which is a logical place that people would go given that Frankenstein is in the title, and it puts you in mind of the guy with the bolts in his neck. This is a retelling of the life of Mary Shelley, the author of Frankenstein. So that's the first thing to know, is that it is not about the story of Frankenstein or a reboot of that. It is about Mary Shelley's life. And it is, in terms of your question of how much of it is true and how much of it isn't, like a percentage? 70-30. Certainly everything about her history and background and biography is true. We use that to jump into some speculative plot changes. The emotional stakes for her are as grounded as we could make them, based on, mostly real things that happened to her, but it goes in a speculative direction that then feeds into sort of a reimagining of the origin of the writing of Frankenstein in certain ways. So basically create a reality in her life that's a little bit closer to some of the stuff that does happen in Frankenstein, which is the best way I can say it without too many spoilers. So very important to us to keep it grounded in the reality of her life, for sure.
Oh, okay. So did you already kind of had a strong interest with her life as just the writer itself? That's why you picked out this as a Kickstarter game topic, or was there any other reasons for that choice?
So when we decided to do a tabletop game, we kind of got together a few times and brainstormed a bunch of ideas, and we wanted to do something. Admittedly, from a business perspective, we wanted to do something that had some recognizability for people. There's a reason why people use pre-existing IP for these sorts of projects, like Frankenstein. And Arvind, the way he remembers it, I kind of forget, to be honest, but the way he remembers it is that he brought us an article by Jill Lepore in the New Yorker that was a kind of biography of Mary Shelley, as a sort of jumping off point to have that conversation. And her life was just so fascinating and tragic in certain ways and triumphant in others. And she was connected to some really interesting people. Obviously, Percy Shelley, her lover and then husband, Lord Byron, who was there when she wrote Frankenstein or when she conceived of Frankenstein, and some other really interesting people. Her mother was kind of the first feminist writer sort of all time, and her father was a really interesting political radical as well. So just like she's a fascinating person, and she connected to the sort of Gothic tradition, and we knew that there were some genre places we could take it where we could have the best of both worlds, where Terry and I are very interested in trying to tell more grounded stories. So our next escape room, as I said, takes place in the real world at a pharmaceutical company in the 50s. So it's not Hidden Temple, it's not Tesla's lab, it's not, time travel. It's the real world with real activities. And we're both really interested in trying to do more of that in these genres. So we wanted to do that in a board game, but we're also aware that that's not the sort of sexiest possible theme. So Mary Shelley was kind of perfect in that she allowed us to bring in these sci-fi, gothic, horror tropes and kind of have it both ways.
Got it. Yeah, that totally. I feel like from when I first saw it, I think Frankenstein was the first thing that attracted us as well. And then after that, the storyline, the narrative was
it's in the world of Frankenstein.
Totally understand the business side of it for sure.
Yeah.
So tell us about this 3-volume journey.
Yeah.
What's in each volume, and will they be sent together or one volume at a time?
Should I just answer all, or Terry, you want to try again? You look good.
I probably raise your hand who's going to answer first.
Yeah. I think you probably should just continue to answer, and then if Terry wants to try
I'll answer.
He seems frozen again.
Yeah.
But in a good position. Maybe.
Yeah, he looks good.
We'll do. He can raise.
Yeah.
He can raise beautifully stoic. Yes, I'll answer. So the 3-volume journey. Yes, the 3-volume journey. So we basically, so we're big fans of 3-act structures, which is the sort of baseline narrative structure. Though I should say we initially conceived Mother Frankenstein as 5 volumes and pared down sort of our expectations when we realized that would make the game cost like $200 for the base level, and it wasn't going to be smart. But the 3-volume journey is Mary's. Sorry, go ahead. What was that? Sorry, go ahead. What was that?
Oh, no, I was just saying that, you couldn't have it done a 5 because after the 3D, you're going to have to go 4D.
Yeah.
On the the puzzle. There wouldn't really be any.
For the record,
very smart. Very true.
For the record, probably one of the most difficult puzzles that I've ever done.
Yeah, which we're gonna talk about in a bit.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
But go ahead with your three volumes.
3 volumes.
Yeah. I'm excited to talk about it. Yes, 3 volumes. So the general arc of it will be, so the prototype, just so you know, the prototype is actually a little bit different than the actual planned structure. So the jigsaw puzzle is not part of volume 1. It's actually volume 2, but we put it in volume 1 so that our playtesters could have sort of an experience of the jigsaw puzzle interacting with the game. But the actual, you might have noticed when you built the jigsaw puzzle that nothing on it relates to what you've done. That's because that's all volume 2 puzzles. But the overall structure is volume 1 is divided into sort of 2 sections. It's Mary's courtship with Percy Shelley and them falling in love through these love letters. And then it is Mary's education by her father in 3 subjects: music, astronomy, and poetry. You solve puzzles related to those topics. So it's basically her childhood, Bildungsroman style. The second volume is Mary and family go to Europe. Mary and Percy ran away to Europe with Mary's half-sister, stepsister. And in our version, sort of half of it takes place at a ball at Castle Frankenstein, which was a real place where a real alchemist was known to have lived, alchemists being the scientists of their era, so that's a continuous debate between Terry and I, whether they count as real scientists. But a real alchemist lived there. So in our version, a descendant of that real alchemist is there, and Mary and co go to a ball there. So half of volume 2 takes place at that ball, and you're sort of following the structure of the evening, and then half of it is Mary basically apprenticing under this alchemist and learning some of the dark arts that he studies. And then again, I'm trying to be careful here with spoilers, but the third act, you then build Castle Frankenstein in 3 dimensions, and Mary continues her journey in that direction, and there are some sort of revelations about some things that happened in her life and how they relate to the things she learned at said castle. That's my KG way of describing it.
So this is all shipped together though, like in one when the final product.
Oh, we got a head nod from Terry. Yes. Okay.
Now I know questions about yes, no, not.
Yes.
He's gonna that side.
Yeah. And FYI, guys, the raffle that we're going to use a secret phrase for at the end is for the prototype of Act 1. So stick around. You're gonna want to.
With the secret phrase.
Yeah. Question number 5.
Should I go with this one?
Yeah,
okay. Alright, so in the game, we're definitely experiencing all sorts of different types of gameplay and feelings. So the beautiful, writing love stories at times, I was like telling Brandon, I'm like, why can't you write these beautiful poems to me? Like, what happened? Because, he raps and he has his musical background.
She's making, I've written 3 songs about her, okay? So, for the record, they're out there, they're just not
these beautiful colors. And then also, there is some kind of kryptonite of mine, which is like Sudoku-ish, but at least it was paired with music, so it wasn't as painful. And then we also have, that mysterious world of astronomy and the frustration part of it, but yet satisfying part of that 300-piece circular puzzle, which at one point...
Yeah, I had to keep going. I was like, I'm not going to sleep yet until this thing is done.
Yeah, because he's like, this is the first one that I tried that I had to start from inside to go out.
Yeah.
Which most of the puzzle you have to, easily find edges. But for this one, it's just like, no, I've never done that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, so tell us, who's in charge of creating, what part of this game? I'm sure you both contributed to each piece of it, and then there's always going to be strengths coming from,
from Tommy, from the writing.
Yeah, was it the writing part? Were you more on the puzzle section? Who was what?
I think Terry's thinking about his answer. And Tommy, we can't hear you.
Okay.
It's a little delayed.
Frozen.
Okay.
He'll come back. You can hear me. Yeah, I'm having a big delay from you guys too, for what it's worth. I don't know why, but it's all good. In terms of the structure, in terms of who did what, what's really interesting about this project, even relative to other things Terry and I have done together, including Lab Rat and Ladder. Usually Terry and I do divide up the work, with a lot of exceptions and constant counsel back and forth and notes. So, but usually there is a pretty strong division. Terry simply does a lot more than me, is really what that comes down to. But with something like Lab Rat, my purview was primarily the writing, period. And Terry, was much more responsible for all of the puzzle design, again, with me giving lots of notes and thoughts, but the actual design and the physical 3D modeling and the art, that's basically all Terry. This project has been very, very different. With this project, it's basically just 50-50. There's no real division, aside from the fact that Terry does a lot of art visual stuff that I'm simply incapable of doing. But in terms of puzzle design and even the word-to-word writing, it has been very much just 50-50 with this. And again, we met both being writers. That's something we're both very capable of doing, and we're both gamers and puzzle designers. Terry's just also a visual artist on top of it, which I am not. So he mostly takes that part of things. But yeah, so really not, no strong division of labor. It's just a collaboration straight up. Yeah, it's a collaboration straight up. Yeah.
Right. It sounds like you have really good chemistry working together. Like you guys produce some really amazing stuff. So
yeah,
I think that,
and yeah, if you guys can hear me.
A little bit.
we heard you. We can answer that. Yes, we can.
What we hear me, which is pretty hilarious. Right. It's okay. You know what, Terry? Here's what Terry should do. Terry should put it. Yeah, he should chat to me on my phone, and then I'll just transmit it over.
How good is your impersonation?
Right. I'm so sorry, you guys. Caught the move in Terry. But yeah, it's been an amazing collaboration in that way, and we've worked together for a long time, even though there was a big break in between our musical and our escape rooms. But really what it comes down to is we both have almost no ego about this stuff, which I think is necessary, but just literally none. So there's no thought when you send someone something. I would say 30% of the time, the other person just says, no, no, great work spending 8 hours on this today. No, doesn't work. Go do something else. And we do that very smoothly. And once you're there, there's really, there's no problems you can have if you're willing to just hear the no and be like, okay, guess I have to try again. That didn't work.
Yeah, it's great that you guys have the team is really hard to find. A great team, it's even harder. So that's great that you guys can work on this together and create projects like this. That's so. It's enormous. I feel in terms of how much time and effort you have to put into these little pieces and joining all the small pieces together into bigger pictures.
Yeah.
So it's quite amazing. Not talking about the smaller pieces. So we're speaking about the 2D puzzles, right? And then you have the 3D ones. What is the 3D one going to be like? Are you producing these in-house, or you have a vendor? So how does this part of the creation even start? Do you have puzzles made first, then you're oh, why not build a 3D castle to go along with it? Or is this a 2D didn't get you feel people need to go into maybe even trying a 3D puzzle because the 2D one wasn't torturous enough? No,
Hey, I have a question. Can I ask you a question about the 2D puzzle? Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
So I only did the 2D puzzle somewhat recently in terms of actually doing it myself. And I discovered that not only is it, as you said, a puzzle that you have to solve from the inside out instead of the outside in, but because of the reality of its orientation, you can actually cheat. and I'm just wondering if you did eventually realize this, that you actually knew where each piece had to go because of the way it was oriented. It's like, oh, it's going to have to go up there because the letters would be upside down. Did that like occur?
Yeah, well, I don't want to give any like cheat tips to our viewers, but something clicked probably halfway through. So when I started with the inside with, like you said, you already said it, the letters, right? So forming words. And then all the other stuff, which is really hard, like the millions of trees and the greenery.
The darker color.
But I figured something out as we were going, and I was like, oh, all right, this will help me speed up the process. And then,
because I was with you when I solved it. My first thought was, oh, we might need to fix this puzzle because it's just too much greenery. But once I made the leap, I was actually like, no, this is fair. It's not easy, but it's fair.
Definitely fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And
go ahead.
Also, the fact that like my eyesight was better, that really also helped because some of the numbers were on there, like it was just easier.
Yeah, mind you, it was like 4 a.m. So like,
I was like, oh, I just a piece of curve, and he's like, what curve?
What are you talking about? I can't even see my hands anymore.
Yeah. So,
to your question though, to your question. The structure of like, what should we put puzzles in? It came down to a couple things. So first of all, just a couple of business things. People love jigsaw puzzles. They just love them, and some people hate them. By the way, I should be clear. Not everybody loves them, but but a lot of people really like them. And the philosophy behind this game, which is that we wanted to expand outwards slightly from just hardcore gamers. Hardcore gamers don't necessarily love jigsaw puzzles because they aren't real puzzles, let's face it. They're drudgery to some extent. But if you're doing this with like your grandma, she's not going to want to do that astronomy puzzle. She's just not. Yeah. But she might want to put the jigsaw puzzle together. Yeah. And it makes this more of a family sort of experience where it's like, okay, like some folks can work on the jigsaw puzzle, some folks can work on these puzzles, and I think it creates like a more sort of holistic experience. There's also this question of, because structure is really important to us, when in a drama like this, you want to have, ascending action and ascending drama, and you also want to have ascending sort of design excitement. So the way that the structure of the game will work, though we compounded this into Volume 1 for the prototype, as I mentioned, but the way it will probably work in the finished game, it's being finalized, but the rings will be constructed as part of Volume 1. Okay. The puzzle will be constructed as Volume 2. And the 3D puzzle will be constructed as Volume 3. So what that is this like ascending line of sort of complexity, interest, action, which is sort of, the experience you want to have. So that's kind of where it came from.
The rings you wouldn't have to assemble until you got the second one, until you got the puzzle pieces, right? Because otherwise you just have a hollow center.
Well, that's what you're waiting for. Then
so probably you would construct the rings as part of Volume 1, and there would be a different methodology for solving to the unlock of Volume 2 using just the rings. Right. Then the puzzle would go inside the rings, then the 3D puzzle goes on top of the whole thing, right? Wow. So it's like builds up from there. Yeah. That is the structure.
By the way, just like how you described this experience, this one was the grandma who was basically doing all the jigsaw stuff, and then I was like reading all the love letters and astronomy, and I was like, Grandma,
I was listening though while I was putting it down, just reading it out loud.
Terry's back. Hi, Terry.
I am. I might have a stronger connection.
Yeah.
All right.
You have really good lighting too.
Yeah, we've only been talking about good things about you, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I will say that something that's very important to me as a puzzle designer is really keying into differing abilities that people have. And making sure that all the different kinds of thinking types, all the different kinds of minds can have their own aha moments based upon where their strengths are. Mm-hmm. That's a huge priority of mine. I really think that that kind of diversity ups a game experience. So
I
want to say that in terms of the music, obviously we designed that puzzle so that you didn't need to know a darn thing about music in order to solve it, as was the case with all the learning puzzles, because I think we really wanted people to actually learn things in the learning puzzles, right? And I think that was part of the goal there, was that we wanted to somehow do both, in the way that watching a really fantastic, historical fiction movie might teach us certain things about history. We wanted this to also be teaching us about history, but also the natural sciences and the arts and the kind of education that Mary would have received that becomes important for the kind of story she ends up telling.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's how we felt. And then also, it's great to, in games where we felt like one of us is like solved something and they became like the superstar at that moment, and then had a wow, you did that because without you we couldn't have solved it kind of feel. And then everybody had a moment in that game, which is kind of great.
There's definitely a lot of collaborative effort when playing the game. For our viewers, FYI, if you do get a hold of this game, make sure you have enough table space. You're gonna need.
Oh yeah, we're moving because we're like, nope.
I literally designated myself to the kitchen counter, and then she was over by the couch, and we were like, spread out.
And then when we were done with the phone, he was like, go ahead.
Sorry, the version you received is about half the size of the original version.
Wow.
we significantly pared it down.
Because I was like, he was like, oh, I'm gonna have to glue this, and I'm never going to take this puzzle like ever.
I was gonna frame it and literally plaster on the wall. This is never coming apart. Hours of my life work.
We're just gonna give a little break here and type our secret phrase in for everyone who's listening. Of course, we're gonna reveal it again at the end. But if you would like to win your own copy of their first prototype of the Act 1 of Mother's Franklin,
the secret phrase is
type in Frankie is alive.
Frankie is alive. Yeah, and also FYI, like I said in the beginning, their game is available on Kickstarter, so if you guys want to go pre-order your copy now, you have until October 24th, so make sure you go check that out.
Yeah. I mean, talking about the Kickstarter and the game itself, how big is this team behind the creations? Is it just you two?
We had one member of the ladder build team who joined us for a portion of the design, and may join us a little bit for the finishing off of Act 3, which is where we still have a little bit of work to do. And that's a staff member that we work with closely. His name is Will Comore, and he's marvelous, and he's a real asset to our team. And then, of course, our collaboration with Arvind, Ethan, David, and he has a few members on his team also from who support from a logistical standpoint, and that's more or less the team. As opposed to the ladder, that at its height, right before we closed down, there were 12 people on the build team.
Oh wow!
I mean, actually, because you need that physical construction team.
Yeah, and as Tommy intimated earlier, the ladder is massive. It's massive in all the ways. In all the ways.
Were you close to finishing before COVID, or like?
What do you think?
Were we?
So something that I'm gonna have to figure out at some point, as we continue to grow and build more escape rooms, is how to gauge that and how to time it. Because as I often tell my build team, if we are ever coming into work and working on something that somebody's ever made before, we're not doing our jobs. Because the idea is that we're creating spaces that are entirely new, experiences that are entirely new, games and puzzles and ways of interaction and story beats that have never been done before. And if that's the case, being able to estimate how much time something is going to take is really, really hard, because it's so much about making the mistakes and backtracking and trying it 6 different ways and then doing it the 7th way. That being said, we've made significant progress, and we're definitely over the hump on this project, right? So the end was in sight when unfortunately we had to close down the build. You know what?
Yeah, Emma seems to agree. She's
Emma gets it.
So currently, I know you're fully funded, obviously, on Kickstarter already. But are you going? You're going towards your stretch goal number 5 right now at the moment of 175,000.
Wow.
Were you expecting this? I would say yes, because I see that you have many stretch goals that you're planning to release soon. As the question marks keeps going on the list, or are you very surprised and are you adding these stretch goals as you go?
Sure. So, what I would say is, we're happy where this has ended up, and it's going really well. I wouldn't say we are shocked at the number, only because, not to be arrogant about it, but only because we researched this and prepared for this campaign for a very long time, relatively. And, we know how comparable campaigns have gone. We're friends with plenty of people who have run comparable campaigns. Rita Orlov, who did the Emerald Flame very recently. The Wild Optimists, who do the Escape Room Box games, Werewolf Experiment, Flashback. So we had a sense of kind of where we should end up if we were doing our job right. Mm-hmm. And also we have a large fan base, through Lab Rat. This isn't our first project. So yeah, we expected to do around as much business as we're doing, to be honest. We're incredibly grateful and psyched about it, but it's also important because the truth of the matter is, without getting into anything too complex, even at this level, we're not making some crazy amount of money. Like, this is what it costs to make this game.
Yeah.
And because ultimately, we want to be able to sell this much more widely than to a Kickstarter audience. We really want this to be the kind of game that families could pick up at a Barnes and Noble or a Target or whatever it may be, and bring home to their families, whether or not they've experienced Lab Rat before. That's right. The ultimate goal. We want to get this thing in as many people's hands as possible because we like having our stories told.
Yeah, that's passion right there. We definitely feel and get a sense of it when you guys, the amount of work you put into it.
I guess, because you're talking about, selling to stores and whatnot, but when we got our prototype, it was a semi, the size of this box. So when you have the 3 books and the other items in there with the 3D castle and everything, how big is that? People are worried about shipping, costs and whatnot for international and...
No, you should know that I do pretty much all of my designing in 3 dimensions first and foremost, and so the whole thing is built in 3D, and it fits in. So think of a leather-bound box set of Lord of the Rings. Okay. That's the size of this game.
Oh,
got it. Oh. So all the books are going to fit in there too.
Yeah, so it's our specialized and with special puzzles reprinting of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, and then the 3 volumes, each one is shaped like a book, right? And so Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, each one is a book, and contained within it, when you open it, all the various pieces that you need to get the story and do the solving.
That's so cool. Yeah.
Wow, I can't wait to
That's
see
like a collector's item right there.
Yeah, sure.
Well, that's the goal, is that we, yes, you spent an awful lot of time on that puzzle, and that was by design. We want you to put this on your bookshelf. We do want you to hang it up on the wall. We want you to display it. We hope to leave you with beautiful artifacts of your experience.
Yeah. Terry, you must have parked right in the drive-thru of a Starbucks or something, because you're coming in really clear, man.
You did it.
I am in the drive-thru of a Starbucks.
Starbucks.
Sponsored by Starbucks. This is probably the most important question that the backers want to know. Where is the production right now? Can they expect this to be delivered in November of 2020? And will there be any more surprises that will come soon with the stretch goals releases that you can tell us about?
Sure. So in terms of delivery, no, this will not arrive in November 2020. We're very clear on that in the campaign.
Yeah.
We're like anyone in this space, we're certainly looking at a 6-month delivery window. That's a necessity because you can't you can't do ordering and manufacturing of this until you know how many you need to make, because it violently affects the pricing, including what we would have to charge, right? So we needed to assume, in order to price it, we needed to assume a fairly conservative number of sales so that we knew how to price it such that we wouldn't lose a ton of money. But in case things went incredibly well and we went super viral, or whatever, we certainly wouldn't do any ordering until the campaign was over. And because of that, once you're in that position, there are huge lags. This product requires something along the lines of 13 different factories for manufacturing. So the logistics of that are very, very complicated. So we're basically saying 6 months is what we're kind of aiming for. We feel confident that's a conservative estimate. At the same time, this is a very complex and disrupted time in manufacturing. I do think that everyone on Kickstarter understands that. We haven't gotten a lot of kind of angry pushback in terms of like, we need a hard, everyone understands that this is a rough time. Yeah. What I'll say is our goal is to be very quick with this, because we recognize that part of the appeal is that this is COVID time and people are looking for stuff to do, and we really, really want to deliver it, but we just have to be realistic about the timing in that regard.
Yeah.
Right. And then I think my second part of the question was about were there any other surprises coming up with this stretch goals if you were surpassing your other question mark surpass?
Oh, I see. I mean, I'm not embarrassed to say that I'm not even totally sure we know what the next one is. We have a big trough of possible stretch goals that we kind of played with throughout the campaign. And one of the reasons we released them piece by piece was it was an ongoing conversation of like, what do we think people would be most excited about, which is maybe just not worth it. Like, it actually costs a lot on our end and wouldn't make people all that happy. Right. So, what I can promise is there'll be another stretch goal, and it'll be great.
I mean, I'm really looking forward to that music vinyl record that you guys created.
Us too.
That's the
You haven't made the music yet?
Bonus track.
Oh no.
No, God, no. Music's easy. Come on. Terry, have you written any Frankenstein? So Terry sometimes, will just, even when we were working on the ladder, Terry would sometimes be like, I wrote a waltz for the ladder last night. I couldn't sleep. Have you written some Frankenstein music? I don't even know.
Are you kidding? Absolutely. So part of my process when I get excited about an idea is I just start attacking it from all sides to get a sense of what it feels like. So I write music, I sketch, I design logos the first day or two that I have an idea about a project. Not that any of this do I expect to actually go into the finished game, but it's just a way of approaching the idea. And I tend to think pretty multidisciplinary, however you want to finish that word, in a multidisciplinary fashion, right? I've written a lot of music for Frankenstein.
We didn't even know. You already
on the record.
About you.
That's funny.
That's great.
Yeah, so we know you're currently spending all your energy on this. But
and then we already talked about the ladder game, but we wanted to know, you think that soon enough that, when everything is pretty much open, because I know it also started with the Kickstarter project as well, so that's going to finish, right? You're definitely going to...
Yes, we will definitely finish building the ladder. The huge challenge, obviously, is, our team of those 12 people have been out of work for 6 months at this point.
Yeah.
And, some of them have had to relocate, and some of them have had to take, other positions. So I don't know exactly what the team will look like when we resume. I'm sure there will be some changes, and I'm sure that we'll have some repeats, or some returners. But that's a major consideration.
Yeah.
I mean, the final question we have for you guys is if you had the budget and the time, because currently you're focusing more on this, but what would you make?
Yeah.
Any
budget.
What kind of project?
What project would you do? Forget about numbers.
I don't know if anybody could steal this.
We will.
$1 million project or something out there, but if you had no limits on any kind of
no constraints.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this: a $1 million project, if I may be so bold, is the lower end of what I'd like to pull off in the next endeavor.
So basically, a whole entire island. You're gonna buy an island, and then
well,
we'll take it from there.
In LA is pretty expensive, so I'm looking an island for that.
Yeah.
No. The scale of the project after this one that we are looking at, and the reason that we started our whole conversation with Arvin, Ethan, David, is to build something that is so massive. No one had ever quite considered an escape room of that size, and so that that's what we're kind of dreaming up. Does that mean that that's exactly what we're going to do next? No. If we found a story that we wanted to tell that was of a smaller nature, we would tell that story, right?
Yeah.
But we definitely have dreams of some really big, really massive, really Disneyland level kinds of entertainment experiences that we'd like to build.
Yeah, you got her already. She's sold. Anything Disney related, she's on board.
Yeah. That's awesome.
All right.
All right, we're gonna go into our final fun segment.
Yeah, so we're about to play our game, which is
Eat or drink.
take a drink. Don't drink and drive, Terry. Maybe a Starbucks. There you go.
He's like, I got it.
All right, so we're going to bring the timer in. Let's get this
Oh wow!
right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna ask questions from our guests about their products, and maybe probably just about Mother Frankenstein or about Brett's too. Okay.
We never played it.
Well, about Mother Frankenstein. Well, we've heard a lot about it, so it's almost like we played it. And then you have 10 seconds from after we ask the questions to answer it. If you get it right, then we will drink. If you get it wrong, then you will drink. Tommy, do you have a drink in front of you as well?
Oh yes, very alcoholic LaCroix.
Oh, nice. I'm drinking something that I've drank in the past, quarterly, but this is a different flavor. It's passion fruit hard cider. So we're gonna see how this one tastes. Okay.
Hey, this is passion fruit LaCroix.
Yeah.
Oh, hey! Nice.
Cheers.
Passion fruit day. All right. So Cece's gonna start off the first question.
All right. Let's see how well you remember your writing. So in your auction brochure, what year did Percy die?
That's a common.
Wait, hold on. I can do this. So, oh my god. 1831.
Is Tommy still here?
Yeah, he's still here. He said 1831. Do you agree?
So for whatever reason, I can't hear Tommy. I just hear you guys. But I have to trust Tommy on that one. Tommy's our timeline keeper.
Probably too late. It's probably like 28. Shoot, I don't know. I said 31 though, so it is what it is.
You were going closer with the 28.
But 1822.
22. You guys drink.
I was close though.
Well, he is drinking root beer.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Right. That's true.
But I will say this. One of the things that we did take liberties with was the timeline. In order to make this, in order to make the story coherent and fit into our 3 acts.
Right. But not his death. Not his death.
Death is one of the things that we've adjusted in the timeline for reasons that will be apparent at some point.
Okay. That's good to know. I mean,
our second question for you is, in the same brochure, where is Netherby's located?
Oh, I got this one. It's in London.
the full address.
Oh, geez. Well, so, okay, so...
It was going to be that easy.
So the answer is at the location of the actual Sotheby's. That is.
Really?
Yeah.
We'll drink with you because you got London, right? But it's actually 34-35 New Bond Street, Mayfair, London. But we'll drink.
Wow, okay, alright, well, I'll drink.
All right, question number 3.
Alright, so on the top of the ring, there is a symbol. What is that symbol?
Of which
That's
ring?
Aries. That's Aries for sure.
Oh, no. I mean, like, there's a symbol that you're supposed to line them up with.
Oh, it's a red
It's a
triangle.
green triangle.
Or is it green now?
It's red.
Oh, it's red.
Oh,
it's red.
it is.
It's red.
It used to be a green triangle.
It used to be green.
You're thinking of us in your game.
Yeah.
There you go.
Alright, fourth question.
Wait, what happened?
Oh, what?
Oh, so they got a drink.
Well, that's why, because he's
Okay.
a Brian.
Yeah, we should drink together because you got triangle.
Okay, drink together. Alright, I like it.
All right, question number 4. Let me get this countdown. It's a little finicky. All right, question number 4 for you. Don't worry, you have full 10 seconds. Is in the poem's envelope. What's the sonnet number of William Shakespeare?
I'll give that to Tommy.
Oh, don't blame me. You picked it. Sonnet number 34.
Tommy, got it?
Tommy said 34.
You agree, Terry?
I'll give you a guess.
You can get 2 answers.
In the 20s or 30s.
You're both really
You
far off.
need to like He's like, I need to go back and rewrite this story.
98. Wow. Oh, okay. 98.
98.
98. Sorry, yeah.
All right, I drank.
All right.
This
question number 5.
one actually you both should get.
Yeah.
Okay.
You should get.
In the music envelope, on that circle where you have all the keys, right? What letter key is after D going clockwise?
Do that.
Should be A.
Final
Should
answer.
be. It better be A.
Yeah.
It better be
After
A.
D, it's A, yeah.
I figured you would get this one.
I mean,
I know.
it's a circle of fifths.
That's my mom. Hi, Mom.
Hi.
Hi. You can help Tommy out if you know the answer. Lifeline. All right, we do have a bonus question for you.
This one you'll have to answer,
Yeah.
but you'll need to spell it backwards.
Spell it backwards.
Okay.
Because
Once
you
you have-
can answer this.
Well, we'll give you 2 options. Do any of you speak Pig Latin?
I mean,
To the extent that
I'm
it's.
sure you rustle it up.
For this, because only one word.
We'll see about that. You get the option to answer either or in Pig Latin or backwards.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
So the question for you is in the what's Mary's middle name?
Tommy, all you.
Her middle. Wait, do I know her middle name?
Yeah. You wrote it.
Oh, I see. Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay. Obviously. Oh, backwards. Okay. Okay. Wow.
Wow.
Okay. TFARCENOTSLLOW.
That is Wollstonecraft. Did I pronounce it right?
Close
Wollstonecraft.
enough, I think, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Great job.
Is that the real middle name or no?
So that was her mother's maiden name.
Oh, maiden name. Okay.
That she did right under.
Ah.
Right, but that's why I was confused for a moment because I was like, oh, was she born Mary Wollstonecraft Godwin? I don't actually know. Or if when she took, probably she was, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
More research to be done.
There you go.
Thank you for playing Think or Drink with us. It's always great to get our guests. Well, you guys aren't getting drunk, but it's always great to play these games and learn more about.
Angela's always getting drunk with us. What are you talking about?
Angela probably has a drink in her hand right now.
She's always drinking with us.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, this is sort of like similar to what we're doing. You're telling the back end story of the mastermind.
The creators, yeah. You guys are telling the story of those masterminds.
There you go. Exactly.
Great.
So one more time, secret phrase is Frankie is alive, and you will automatically enter into the raffle for your chance to win a copy of the prototype of Mother of Frankenstein Act 1.
Yeah, and you have time to do this before episode 21, which is coming soon because we're doing it so frequent now.
Yeah, so anywhere on IGTV, YouTube, Facebook that you see this video, type it in the chat, in the message. Frankie is alive, and also don't forget that you can still pre-order your copy on Kickstarter now until October 24th.
Yes.
Yeah.
Make their stretch goals stretcher longer.
Do we want to let them know who our guest is for the next show, episode 20?
Our next show, yes, Blue Matters is coming back
With Streamline
and
Play Monster.
Yes, with Play Monster, and we're going to have Alcatraz, breaking Alcatraz.
Yeah.
That we created on the show.
Also, check out the unboxing that we did for Mother of Frankenstein on our YouTube channel as well.
It was very cool.
You'll get a glimpse. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And thanks for everyone watching.
Bye, guys.
Bye, all.
Yeah, take notes, try to relax yourself. If you need to, don't hesitate to ask for help. For hints and clues for you to think it through. Leaderboard or not, is whether you win or lose. 3 hints left for me to choose. 2 hints left for me to use. 1 hint left for me to move. Time is running out, gotta figure something out. 3 hints left for me to choose. 2 hints left for me to use. 1 hint left for me to move. Time is running out, gotta figure something out.